Hello everybody, welcome back to 10th grade English class. I'm AJ. This lesson I'm going to be walking you through claim writing. So my 10th graders have a background in this. Writing claims is a part of the Common Core standards. Writing them, identifying them, differentiating them between each other, between claims and counterclaims. So I do this a lot with my classes, and that we practice it a lot. It's really my go-to writing exercise. And during this time of remote learning, I just thought that it was a good way to maintain their skills and have them write about a topic that we're covering in the distance learning classes on Antigone. So in my last lesson, we looked at Antigone, and in this lesson, we're going to look at something similar, something kind of tangentially related to Antigone, but not directly related. So first, my students have a lot of background in claim, but you guys don't. So I want to run through what claims are. So a claim is an argumentative type of writing. It's an argument you put forth in writing. You're expressing what you think and you're backing it up with reasons, right? It's just like any other type of argument, except what differentiates claims from opinion writing, like you may have done in my quick write assignment, you may have wrote that, I think it's important to be buried because, and you listed your reasons. But a claim does not include opinion. So, for instance, instead of saying, I think it's important to be buried in this specific way, and you line up why and you give your reasons, you would just say, it is important to be buried this way for X, Y, and Z, right? So that's the main difference between most forms of writing, or at least opinion-based writing, and writing claims. Claims are written as if they're fact, okay? It's not what you think, it's what you know and what you're going to back up with the facts. So I'm going to have this be a formal assessment at the end. You're actually going to write the same claim exercise that my students wrote last week, but I'm going to modify this just a little so you guys get some background. So like I said, claims are a form of argumentative writing. You're putting your point of view out in writing, and you're stating it as if it's a fact, okay? So you're not saying, I think this, right? Who are you to put your opinion out? State it as if it's fact, and it's going to sound stronger and more concise, and people will be more likely to go along with what you say. If you just state something as if it's a fact, people question it less. And that's the whole point of this writing exercise. It's to be concise, it's to be really clear, and just get your opinion out there, but state it as if it's a fact, okay? So again, claims should never include I think. That's your opinion, okay? Claims are stated as fact. So an example of a good claim stated as fact would be, Michael Jordan is the best basketball player that ever played in the NBA. A bad claim would be, I think Michael Jordan is the best player, right? You included your opinion. That makes it not a claim, okay? It sounds weaker. Who are you to decide who the best player in the NBA is? But if you just come out and say, Michael Jordan is the best player for these reasons, boom, that sounds so much stronger than, I think, as this random person, that Michael Jordan is really the best. That just sounds so much weaker than just stating it as if it was fact. All right, so also, just like any other form of argument, if you want your argument to be strong, you need to back it up with evidence. Evidence strengthens your claim. And you just want to follow logic, or maybe use statistics or other facts that back up what you're trying to prove with your claim, okay? It's an argument, so there's going to be two sides. You're trying to back up your side and tell people why that is correct, okay? Generally, the format for writing these claims, I have students write a 5-paragraph essay. That's what you're going to be writing. Don't be too intimidated by that. I'm going to simplify it a little and make it easy on you. So here's the general format. The first paragraph, you're going to write an introduction, and it's going to end with your actual claim, okay? Maybe if you're writing about Michael Jordan, your first paragraph is going to be some background information about how many great players there's been in the NBA. But at the end of your introduction, you're going to state your claim that Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player who has ever lived, right? That's your claim. Your second paragraph, it's the first piece of evidence that supports the claim. Your third paragraph is the second piece of evidence that supports the claim, okay? So what's reason number one? Give that a full paragraph, flesh that out. Reason number two gets its own separate paragraph and is fleshed out as well. Your fourth paragraph is where you're going to include what's called a counterclaim. It's just like it sounds. You make a claim, somebody else might disagree with you and have a different claim. That's what's called a counterclaim. In this paragraph, in your counterclaim paragraph, you acknowledge what the other side thinks, right? You give their reasons for holding to that belief, but you explain why your claim is still the stronger one and why it's the best, okay? And then for the conclusion, usually I just have students restate their claim to make it a very clear conclusion. People have a lot of trouble wrapping up their writing. This is a really simple rule. Obviously, you can write more advanced conclusions, and I like my students to, but when they're struggling, I just tell them, for these reasons, comma, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player that ever lived, right? Put a little bow on it, and your essay's done. Okay, so again, to give an example, to follow with that Michael Jordan claim exercise. So our first paragraph, the introduction, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Paragraph 2, this is your first reason, right? He won more championships than any other player. He was the most valuable player on the Chicago Bulls, one of the most successful teams in the history of the NBA. Paragraph 3, this is our second reason. He retired, he became a baseball player, came back and won even more championships. Who else has done that, right? Paragraph 4, this is the counterclaim paragraph. There's many, many great players in the history of basketball. Maybe you go into and explain some of the other greats, and then you acknowledge, yes, these players are great, but ultimately your claim is correct, right? Michael Jordan is the one who's ultimately the best, right? When we acknowledge people who disagree with us, and we explain where they come from, and we explain that our reasoning is still stronger, it strengthens our claim, okay? And then finally, for the concluding paragraph, paragraph 5, this is that really simple format that I just went over. For these reasons, Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Okay? Really simple, puts a nice little bow on your essay, and you're done. Okay? So for the rest of this exercise, I want you to look through, just make some practice, identify the different claims in the questions. All right? Just get used to identifying what is and is not a claim. I think you guys can handle forming evidence to support your claim, because we all love to argue. And if you're good at arguing, you're going to have reasons for why you're right, okay? But remember, do not include your opinion in your claim. Claims are stated as fact. That's the biggest no-no when it comes to claim writing, okay? And then once you finish these practice questions, I do have another piece of the lesson. That's that claim writing exercise I explained that my 10th graders did on Antigone. You're going to look at Andrew Luck's retirement speech and his announcement of his retirement, and you're going to answer basically a yes or no claim based off of his retirement, okay? So, and I want to give some context as to how that relates to Antigone. So, Antigone is all about the main character, right? Antigone is this defiant young woman. She defies gender roles from her time and even in our time, right? She challenges men. She shows what is right. She sticks up for it. She's really virtuous. And she acts differently than women were expected to act in ancient Greece, right? She has her sister Ismene, who's very submissive and just kind of goes along with what Creon says. And then you have Antigone, who is the exact opposite. She's not going to take any gruff from anybody. She's going to tell it how it is, and that's what she does, right? So she defies gender stereotypes for her time. And I thought I could connect this with Andrew Luck's retirement in that Andrew Luck, he's a professional football player. If we want to take gender stereotypes from today, men, especially football players, professional ones, are expected to be tough guys who fight through injury, who sacrifice their body, who leave it all on the field, right? They're not supposed to retire because they've had injuries when they're still healthy and can play for a certain amount of time. So while Andrew Luck and Antigone are certainly not the same, they are both defying gender roles for their time. So I want you to think about gender roles when you look at that claim exercise, and I want you to answer the question with a strong claim. Is it fair to criticize Andrew Luck for his retirement? Remember, don't include your opinion. Nobody cares what you think. Everybody just wants to see what you know and what you can prove. Okay? Write a great claim and have a great day. See you guys.